Hey, do you know what it means when a nation says there's national debt? Can I explain that to you? Can I give you the hack? Can I give you the shell game of national debt? National debt doesn't exist. Okay, let's start right there. Okay, listen. So, let's use America or Canada. When a nation decides that it wants to do something outside of the nation's purview, wants to go to war, wants to invade somebody, wants to do something on a major level, what a nation does, it issues treasury bonds. Okay? A treasury bond. This is what a treasury bond is. It is the national government of that nation asking its citizens to give them a loan. Right? And they give them a loan and they offer them a certain amount of interest return on that loan. Now, from a citizen's point of view, it's a very good deal because the nation, the country, will not default on its loan, right? So if you're going to invest in something, you invest in a company can go bankrupt, but the country ain't going bankrupt. The country's going to pay its debt. So it's a very safe way to put your money away and get a rate of return. So the nation now, so let's, before we even go there, why does the nation do that? Because the nation doesn't want to increase its supply of money and therefore diluting the value of its own currency. So it says, instead of us printing more money to go do what we want to do, we're going to borrow money from the current supply from our current population. So our population takes now from the current supply of money and says, let me give some of that money back to the government on loan. And that is what a treasury bond is, right? It's a bond. The government owes you money. Now, that treasury bond, its principal and the interest outstanding is what constitutes the national debt. That's it. Money that is. So now you have a situation where the government owes money to its populace, and that is referred to as the national debt, principal and interest. And so the understanding is that this thing gets so big that it can't be paid off. It's creating some kind of problem, and that they'll be passing that debt on to the next generation, and all these kind of stupid conversations that people keep having about it. But let's have the real conversation, okay? So the government is saying, don't even use the government. An individual is saying that, hey, I create money. I create it out of the air, but I don't want to create too much because I want the money to have value. So I'm going to create a limited amount and pass it around to you so that we all can use this money. But then that's what I'm going to do. Every now and then, when I need to do something really major, I'm going to borrow it back from you. Don't worry though, I'm going to give you a rate of return on the money, interest. But how am I going to pay back that interest? What am I going to use to do it? One of two things. I'm going to either borrow more money to pay you from other people who haven't lent me money before, or I'm going to create more money and pay you back with the money that I've created. The whole purpose of me borrowing the money in the first place from you is because I did not want to create more money to pay you back. So there's this oxymoronic cyclical scenario happening with this concept of national debt, right? Because the government doesn't want to create new money, so they've got to pay you for the interest, and they've got to borrow money to pay you or create new money. And so national debt is really a conundrum of a nation that really doesn't exist on our level. It is a monetary concern that doesn't exist on our level. Let me tell you why. If I own a treasury bond, if I own $1 million of treasury bonds, what does national debt have to do with me? You owe me money, right? Now, the only thing that comes in is, well, what if we create a bigger supply of that money, and now the dollar that you lent me is only worth 85 cents? Well, again, that is a conundrum of a nation on a level that I don't control. We don't control those kind of things. And so this is why I bring it up. Because when governments try to use terminologies like, oh, we've got a crazy national debt problem and we got a guy coming in here trying to spend money, most of the money that individuals are talking about spending in nation building, they're spending on defense, they're spending on education, hopefully, and they're spending it on programs, whether those programs be penitentiaries, police, whether they be social programs. It is a way of saying that what we are going to do is we are going to filter down currency to the little man, to the grassroots level, in order that things can work. And so people that use this dog whistle of, well, we've got an incredible debt problem in this country, where's this money going to come from, are individuals that are simply trying to put blindfolds in front of your eyes so that you don't understand that national debt doesn't exist. It's a dog whistle for politicians to talk about things that don't really affect us on a monetary level. In fact, it is to our advantage. National debt is to the advantage of the population if we are the people who are lending the money. Now, this is where we throw some other things in. Now, that treasury bond, when it's issued, right? The constituency of that nation are not the only people that necessarily want to buy those bonds. Corporations can buy them. Multinationals, corporations outside the country can buy them. And watch this, foreign governments and even foreign citizens can buy them. So now this becomes a very interesting thing. It's still not an issue. Watch. So let's say all this national debt, because remember what national debt is. It is treasury certificates or treasury bonds that the government is offering at a rate of return that they are essentially loaning money from the bearer of the bond. And suppose all of those people who own those bonds are foreign nationals. So the mentality is, we owe China billions of dollars because they bought treasury bonds from us, right? What's going to happen between America and China? First of all, America is going to pay that debt. Why? Because they want to continue a scenario, two types of scenarios, that foreign governments will lend us money. Because what type of money? This is the second part. This is fantastic. This part is gold. What kind of money are foreign governments lending us? Let's talk about America. American currency. So China is lending America $1 billion of American money, right? Let's say, or a Chinese national or Chinese multinational, right? Or Russia or Iran. Anybody can buy these bonds, but they're buying them in American currency. When they buy them in American currency, America has to pay back the principal plus the interest, right? So you might think to yourself, why would a nation want to lend America money? Why on earth would they do that? Two reasons. Number one, it's a guaranteed rate of return. It's guaranteed, simple, brain, it's dummy proof. They're going to give me a rate of return on the money. Number two, America has made sure that international trade and business is still done in American currency. That means, and this flows into other conversations that we're going to have in a few minutes about nations who now are choosing not to use American currency to do business. They're using their own domestic currencies. If America is saying, not only are you lending me money in American dollars, I'm paying you back money in American dollars plus interest. Those countries are saying, great, because we need American money to do business internationally. So if Iran, historically, is doing business in Russia, with Russia, their measurement of currency is the American dollar. So they say, listen, let's do $500 billion of business. Wire transfers take place, whatever scenarios take place in American currency, right? They're not using the ruble versus another currency, domestic currency historically, because those currencies fluctuate too much based on, again, the American dollar. So what does that mean for the American dollar on a global level? It means in America, its dollar, historically, determined what the value of your money was. If I've got a dollar, I've got an American dollar, and I'm doing business with Brazil, and I'm using the real, and today the real is worth 27 cents based on my American dollar at 27 cents. And I did business with you today. And then I want to do business with you tomorrow. And I say, okay, well, we're doing all this business in American dollars. However, if you want to do it in real, I don't value your money at $27, 27 cents. I valued your real at 23 cents. I can devalue your currency just because I say so. So instead of doing business with me based on my speculative opinion of what your currency is worth, you say, forget that. Let's do business using your currency. I'll use $1 of American dollars to buy $1 of goods, or $1 of services. Let's use that level of currency. America has made sure that the world uses their currency. The world is lending them their own currency back. However, in the case of national debt, America now is owing people interest in their currency. But what these governments are doing now is they're saying, let's no longer put ourselves in a position to invest in America, meaning lending them money so that they can now create a war machine to come and to take over our country. Imagine that concept. You've lent them money, and then they've armed themselves against you to come back and to fight you, take over your country, devaluate your dollar to the point that, they don't even have to pay you back. But they have said, we are no longer going to do business in American dollars. That's another conversation. The national debt doesn't exist. It is money that governments borrow from their citizens, borrow from other nations, borrow from other multinational corporations. They're borrowing this money in their own currency. A currency that they can print and create, even if they can just print it, they could just make it. It's a fiat currency that they can just simply invent. They can pay back debt based on money creation. And this is the smartest thing about it. Although there is a macro concept. If I want to keep the value of American dollars strong in America, I still limit the amount of money that's surplus, that circulates in America. But I can print money and send it to another country. It does create more American money in the world, but it puts me in a position where that inflation does not affect me domestically right away. This is part one about what it means to have national debt. How does it operate? How does it come about? What constitutes it? How it's beneficial? How it doesn't exist on a certain level for individuals on a monetary level, and how it works. It's a shell game. Don't get caught up in that shell game. Don't get caught up in it, because treasury certificates, treasury bonds rather, are good for us. Good for us. The interest rate's not that great. But the capital preservation concepts of keeping your money as your money without risking it, that's what a treasury bond is for. That's what the national debt is individuals who are investing in the safety of a nation. And when that nation becomes destabilized, that treasury bond ain't worth the paper it's written on. We'll talk about it later. This is Del K. Brereton. This is The Real Spiel. I'd like you to share this video and subscribe. If you want to become a member and we can talk about things on a much deeper level, please, Earth, Wind, Fire, Spirit, a multi-levels of membership. To all of my supporters, Al Katani, the Spice Man, Adonai Skincare, don't write it down, jot it down for Miss Helen. This is Del K. Brereton, and this is your information afternoon moment.